right, party people. This your man Griff. um, nothing bad at all, nothing bad. Of course, as y'all know, every time I get on these things, somebody wants to zoom around here with their loud motorcycle or trash truck and all of that. Just figured I'd share some thoughts about this. The Chance and Tabitha. I forgot their last name already. The Chance and Tabitha. And Wendy Williams, making some foul remarks about the fact that the young lady made the video about retiring her husband from his job, irregardless of where the job was at. And she was very eloquent, matter of fact, to the point of what she was saying. I understood it fully. I think most, in my opinion, sensible people who are in a good relationship with their spouse, understood where she was coming from. But I think people also missed the key thing that she was saying. Because I haven't heard anybody, and again, I haven't looked at all the different reactions and all of that. But as she told Wendy, hopefully you'll find somebody that'll love you and care for you and all of that. And what a lot of people need to understand, when you are connected with somebody, when you're married to them, when you've been through a lot with them, you learn them and you get to know them as well as they get to know you. And in that, you start feeling them. You emotionally can feel them. You can emotionally sense when something's not right. You can look at your spouse and tell that they're not that interested in going to work at this company anymore. They normally go to bed at 10 o'clock. Now they're going to bed a little bit later and a little bit later. They're not so hyped on being to work on time. Before, they would get to work about 15-20 minutes before start, and now they just walking in the door right at 8 o'clock or whatever. If you're paying attention to your spouse, you'll pick up that, okay, there's a change that needs to happen in them. And when you know your spouse, when you and that person know each other, and you know what their true passion is, and you have an opportunity to help them accomplish it, to help them switch over into it, why wouldn't you retire them from the thing that is interfering with their ability and their time to go and do that, what they really care about? And that's all Tabitha was saying. She knew her husband really didn't want to do ... And she like, I can knock this out in 5 years. It took 15. At least they hung in there together throughout the whole process. At least he never made her quit and say, you know what, you need to go get a regular job. At least that's what I've heard so far. So when I listened to what Tabitha had to say, I'm like, okay, maybe these people who got concerns or issues, whether it's her paying child support, any of that stuff, paying his child support. What I've learned in life is that sometimes people don't know how to support the one they love. They know how to be around them, but they really don't know how to support them. Or if something tragic happens, then, oh yeah, and I'm gonna hop in here and I'm gonna help you out. But a lot of times people don't really know how to support that person they love. They don't know how to pay attention to them and see that, okay, I need to not say something, or this ain't the night to have the game on, or this ain't the night for me to try to experiment cooking something that I ain't never cooked before. Maybe, you know what, let me just order out. You know, this ain't the time. Um, okay, kids, we probably need to keep quiet tonight. Mom's not in a good mood. Dad's not in a good mood. See, when you understand how to support somebody, you'll understand when things need to change so that they can have a little bit of peace of mind. And when you're not about yourself, you'll put yourself in a position to help them. And what I'm saying is that Tabitha realized that she could put herself in a position to help her husband in an area that he needed help in. That's my opinion. You know, and really not so much him, but the whole family. So what she did, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, when I lost my job and I fell asleep at the wheel and sitting there parked in traffic, you know, trying to come home, and somehow I wound up falling asleep and running into the back of somebody, and I was sitting still, and I thought the car, it was time for me to go, and while I'm half asleep, I hit the gas, and then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm asleep, and I opened my eyes, and bam, I hit the back of a car in front of me. And my wife was like, okay, Griff, you really tired, you really doing a whole lot. And she realized that I was really overworking myself to the point that I was exhausted. So she hopped out there and did everything she could to help. And it did help. And then things changed for me. And then she could, then she was able to back down from some of her stuff. And, I've been trying to be an entrepreneur for a long time, probably the whole time we've been married, probably ever since I was in NICU, sitting up there in the little incubator thing. I'm like, you know what, I never really cared for working for people because I learned at an early age people like to mess with you. So I had planned on getting out, doing my own thing, still trying to find my way 4 or 5 years ago. And I was going in that direction. And the wife was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna have to leave the school system. Things ain't working. People acting crazy. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to put what I'm doing on hold and come up with another plan for how we gonna make sure we handle everything. And then one day, my wife emailed me and said, we need to talk. And I was like, okay. I knew I wasn't in trouble. I was pretty sure my sons weren't in trouble. I was like, let me get down there to her job and figure out what the heck is going on. So I get down there. I didn't see no police, no ambulance. I said, all right, let me go ahead on and go in here and talk to her and see what the heck is going on. And she wasn't in the best emotional state. And all she said was, I'm done. And I was like, all right. So then I was like, okay, you're done. You're right. You're leaving at the end of the year. She's like, no, I'm leaving in February. I think this was like November, December. And I was like, okay, that just accelerated everything. And mind you, we were still in the middle of a bankruptcy. So I'm like, okay, man, this is wild. Okay, what do you want to do, babe? She was packing. She was like, I'm done. All of this stuff that's mine, I want it out of here. Gotcha. Grabbed her stuff, walked it out, put it in the car, and she was like, I'm done. So I was like, all right, February. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's $50,000 gone, and I got to figure a way to make this bad boy work. She gonna run her business. We gonna make it all happen. It's gonna be on and popping. We gonna be good. I don't know how, but we gonna make it happen. And for the next basically 3 years, I stayed working a regular W-2, did what I had to do to get my raises, and 7-8 months ago, it got to a point where it was clear that it was time for me to bounce. And all I remember my wife saying after hearing me and my manager argue at the time, she was like, Griff, I don't know when you plan on leaving, but I know it's time for you to go. And I was like, next Friday is my last day. Sent the resignation. And I remember her saying, you supported me in me leaving the job. I'm going to support you. And we're going to be all right. When your spouse feels you, they will be able to sense that trying to tell you to stay somewhere that is not physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually good for you. And yes, psychologically and emotionally might be all, should have been the same word, whatever. They realize that this ain't good for the one I love. They ain't gonna sit up here like, nah, you better not leave, if they really care about your total emotional well-being, your mental state. If they, in my opinion, if they truly care, they're gonna be like, you know what, we're gonna find a way to make this work. You're just gonna, okay, yeah, we got to get you out of there. Because when you care about that person, you don't want them going through stuff unnecessarily, especially when they're not the catalyst for the pain. They're not doing stuff to cause themselves pain, but other people are. So you do what you can to support them and help them. So when she told me, hey, I got you, you ain't got to worry about it, that meant I'm not going to hear her fussing and yelling and screaming about the bills. She going to do what she do. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, and we going to be fine. And we have been. We've been great. Everything has been A-okay, right on point, because we feel each other. That's all Tabitha was saying is, honey, I feel you. You can go on and let that go. Because see, what y'all don't know is that in his heart of hearts, he might not have been into it anymore. Case in point, for me, the whole time I was with them, I was having a hard time sleeping. Shoot, now I sleep so good it ain't even funny. I mean, my sleep is real good. Now I'm tired because I'm ripping and running all over the place, got that going on. But for the most part, I'm sleeping good because I'm not under all that stress. My eating is better. I've lost weight. May not look like it, but I have lost weight. Down a couple of pant size. I used to have a problem with constantly like having reflux issues. It was all that stress. And after leaving that job and I'm sleeping for about a month or so, I realized, I said, you know what? Not one time have I had that reflux. And man, I've been sleeping good through the night. I think my snoring is going down, or maybe altogether. The only snoring that's happening now, the wife, she snores a little bit, but other than that, I'm quiet as a church mouse. And that was the best thing in the world for me. It took a lot of pressure and a lot of stress off of me. So there's nothing wrong with what Tabitha said, the way she said it. People may not have liked the way she said it, but I'm not even going to point out any modifications because, to be honest, that's her story and his. And she shared it the way she wanted to share it. But nobody would have known that people would have tripped out over this like that. Didn't make any sense to me. But it's about couples working together and being together. You being with that special someone and all you're doing is turning it up, partying, going out all over the place, does not mean you know each other. It doesn't. It just means you got you a good turn-up friend, a good turn-up partner. But you don't know each other because you haven't stopped turning it up long enough to sit down and have a conversation to find out how he or she really feels. and what's going on with them. Sorry about that. You haven't done that because you're worried about being able to brag about how much you go out all the time. Get to know your partner. Find out who they are. And you'll be amazed. Your partner might be amazed that you really don't have it in you to support them. And let's just deal with that for a little bit. You say, well, what do you mean people don't know how to support one another? If you've been in bad relationships, if you grew up seeing bad relationships or never seen a good relationship, how will you know how to support someone you love through thick and thin? How will you know how to be there for them when they may not know how to be there for themselves? I've always said to ladies, a man is only going to do the things that he does not know how to do or what he's been told to do. And you say, well, what do you mean what he has not been told to do? A man hasn't been told how to be a gentleman, how to be caring and loving. Therefore, he's not going to be able to do that. He's going to do the stuff that he has not been told to do. He's not going to be able to execute that properly. I hope I'm saying it right. But basically, the stuff that he has not been told to do, that's what he's going to do. He hasn't been told how to, that's the right way to say it. He has not been told how to be caring and loving and all of that. He hasn't. And he has been taught how to be selfish, temperamental, all of that. So that's what he does. So if he hasn't been taught how to be caring, to how to feel you, how to pay attention to what's going on with you, then that's what he's going to do. He's not going to be able to do that. He's not going to be able to do those things. But then at the same time, if he's been taught how to be selfish, you always got to hang out with the boys. You always got to be all up in the TV at every game, just that and the other. You got to buy every pair of Jordans. Then that's what he's going to do. So sometimes we do this, we do opposite of what we should be doing. And I hope I'm saying it right. Hope I ain't confusing people. But I think y'all get what I'm saying. People haven't been taught how to properly engage in a relationship with somebody from a caring perspective, to care for them deeply and honestly and sincerely, long term. How to pay attention to see what's going on. Oh, okay, I see. He ain't really in the mood. She ain't really in the mood for this. Okay, something's not right. And you find a way to let them know that it's okay to open up and talk to you. Going to the club is not therapy. Going to the restaurants is not always therapy. Hanging out with the friends is not always therapy. Sometimes it can be. Sometimes it can be if you know your husband is working or your wife is working and you see them going all over the place doing this, that, and the other. Well, sorry about that. I'm out in the trees and bugs flying all over. And you might say, you know what? I know my spouse like to hang out with the fellas or the ladies. How about this? You call their friends and say, hey, what y'all got going on this weekend? Nothing. Okay, well, look, me and the kids are going to leave. Y'all come over and hang out with them all day Saturday and just have a good time. No special occasion, just come over and just hang out with them. And they get up and say, where you going? Oh, no, you stay here. All your friends, you haven't hung out with your friends in about a month or so. So what I'm doing is taking me and the kids, and we're going to leave, and we're going to go out wherever, and you and the fellas or you and the ladies, y'all have at it. Go chill. You want to sit here at the house and chill, look at the games? Go. Because I see you need a break. You need a release. So here you go, baby. That's the kind of stuff that you do when you feel that one you love. If you ain't feeling them, you be like, what's wrong with you? As long as you still going to work and bringing that paycheck in, that's all I care about. I'm serious. I mean, that's how some folk are. You sitting up here bleeding from the eyes, and they're like, you can still go to work tomorrow, right? Yeah. Okay, well, that's good. All right. That's all they care about is you going to work so they can have more money to spend. That is not the right way to care for somebody or to support them or be there for them. That is not the proper support. So all Tabitha was saying is that before my husband started bleeding from the eyes, back all messed up, bullet gets all him, he's in a chair. And see, the sad part is that people will be like, well, girl, you was making all that money. Why you had him still working at that job? And then he done got shot and he all hurt up and paralyzed and can't do nothing. That's all that's what will happen. And she knows that. So she's like, I'm getting my man out of here. And I commend her for doing that. And I commend him even more so for getting in there and doing what he know he needed to do for the well-being of his family. And when I'm saying the well-being, I'm talking about the total, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, you name it. He did what he had to do. Because that's what I do. And men who do what they're supposed to do for their family recognize good men who do what they're supposed to do for their families. That's why I'm alone sometimes, because I don't just hang out with any guys. I'd rather be alone by myself than to be around a bunch of guys who just are full of foolishness. I got my lady. I kick it with her. I'm good. I look at TV by myself. It's that simple. I know how to cook, so I cook my own barbecue and short ribs and all of that. I'm good, but don't know if this encouraged anybody or whatever the case may be, but I just wanted to share that. Not that anybody was looking for me to share it, not that anybody asked me, but I just figured I'd just share how I felt about it. Me and my wife talked about it, and I told her, she said what she said. I'm cool with it. They did what they needed to do for their family. There ain't nothing to be mad about. That's simple. So y'all have a good one. Go pick my son up from work and finish working on these websites, and we'll be good to go. All right, talk to y'all later. Peace.